Hey there, so we're here to talk about books today. So instead of the stuff that we are kind of tired of talking about, like resumes and career stuff, we're going to talk about the personal development and what we're doing for ourselves. So I want to tell you about the books I have finished reading so far over the last few months and the books I plan on reading next. I don't have a specific genre that I read. I'm kind of all over the place. I've done historical fiction. I've done some negotiation / business reading, psychology, and we're going to be getting into some mythology because I was very much into mythology in high school, and I haven't really done much of that or read much of that in my adulthood. I used to be obsessed. So here's what I finished reading so far. So first up, we've got The Lost Apothecary. This is by Sarah Penner. It's a novel. Don't know what made me get it. I think it came up as a suggestion for me randomly on Amazon one day. But let me see, how do I talk about this book without giving anything away? So pretty much a lady kind of goes on a little side quest while on a trip. And she finds something because she has a very inquisitive mind and she was very into history. She finds something while she's kind of on this little side quest and she starts digging into it, trying to figure out what it is. And it takes her on this journey, right? Now, what I can say is the book bounces between years. So you've got the main character who we start off with, and then you go back in time and there's a different character, but these women align in a lot of different ways. And it's just it was a really good read. Like there was a point where I couldn't put it down because I just needed to know what was happening next. So if you're one of those people who likes a little bit of mystery, a little bit of wonder, and you are into history a bit, and you have a curious mind, and you would be the person who would find something, let's say, washed up on a beach, and you would try to figure out what it is, like a message in a bottle or something like that, you will enjoy this book. I didn't know if I was going to like it or not when I started, just because of the premise of the book, but I loved it. I really did. I did like the book. Like I said, the author is Sarah Penner, and I also just liked the cover. Purple's my favorite color. The cover drew me in. I'm one of those people. And I really enjoyed it. If you'd like to know what it's about, so in 18th century London, a woman whisper of a hidden apothecary shop and its mysterious owner, Nella, who sells well-disguised poisons to use against the oppressive men in their lives. Nella's dark world is no place for her newest patron, a precocious 12-year-old named Eliza Fanning. But their unexpected bond sparks a string of consequences that echoes through the centuries. 200 years later, historian Caroline Parswell is running from her own demons when she discovers a clue to London's long unsolved apothecary murders. Caroline's upended present soon collides with an explosive history, binding her fate to Nella's and Eliza's in a stunning twist that transcends the barrier of time. So yeah, it was a great read. So if you want a little mystery, a little historical fiction, pick it up. It was a fast read. So the next book I read is about negotiation, and it's called Never Split the Difference. I was fascinated by this book. I actually learned about it from an ad that was on the gram, and it was a conversation with the author whose name is Chris Voss. He is a former FBI hostage negotiator. That piqued my interest for whatever reason. I do like a lot of I like Law and Order. I like watching things on YouTube that involve, like, this is kind of crazy, but like the body cam videos when they're going to either rescue people or solving crimes, or it could be something silly like pulling people over for tickets. I don't know why I like it, but I do. So it has actionable advice. It talks about real life scenarios and scenarios of his past. It talks about sort of how to get what you want out of life. Every day in life is kind of a negotiation. People present options to you. It is up to you to take what they're presenting you or ask for something better or ask for something different. So this book, to me, was kind of a life lesson book mixed with how to get what you want out of people and out of life. I don't know how else to explain it, but you should read it if you find that sort of thing interesting. So here's how they explain it. It's a field-testing, game-changing approach to high-stakes negotiations, whether in the boardroom or at home. As far as I know, the average Joe Schmo ain't reading a book on negotiations. So if you read this book or a similar book, you may be ahead in the game. I say pick it up. Up to you. My most recent read was this book, The Yellow Wife by Sadeqa Johnson. This book, it will take you through some things. This is a historical fiction, but also kind of based on a true story. So yeah, historical fiction based on a true story somewhat, on a real family. This, they describe it as a tale of survival in the most notorious slave prison of the antebellum South. There are people, of course, who still feel like slavery never happened. Those people, they probably need to be medicated. But I live in Atlanta. I live in the South. I know very much that these things happened. This is a great read. It will tug at your heartstrings a bit. It will make you sad. It will make you angry. You get moments of relief. You want to know what's coming next. It's a great read. Born on a plantation in Charles City, Virginia, Phoebe Dolores Brown has lived a sheltered life. Shielded by her mother's position as the estate's medicine woman and cherished by the master's sister, she is set apart from the others on the plantation, belonging to neither world. She'd been promised freedom on her 18th birthday, but instead of the life she imagined with her true love, Essex Henry, Phoebe is forced to leave the only home she has ever known. She unexpectedly finds herself thrust into the bowels of slavery at the infamous Devil's Half Acre, which is a jail in Richmond, Virginia, where the enslaved are broken, tortured, and sold every day. There, Phoebe is exposed not just to her jailer's cruelty, but also to his contradictions. To survive, Phoebe will need to outwit him, even if it means making the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah, I can't give you too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but pick up this book. It will take you on a journey. Good, bad, ugly, a journey nonetheless. My sister read it really fast. She read it with some of her coworkers, actually, some of her nurse coworkers. And I read it slower than they did because the way my mind works, sometimes I don't stick with the same book all the way through all at once. I can sometimes, but this one, I needed to pause from it for a second and I read something else in between there, which is typically how I'll read. I'll kind of bounce between 2 or 3 books. Weird, but that's how I roll. But when I did finish the book, I was about a third of the way through, or almost halfway done after a couple days. And then I put the book down and then I picked it back up a few days ago and I stayed up the whole rest of the night finishing the book. So I think that day I ended up going to sleep around 5 a.m. and I text my sister because she works night shift. And I was like, girl, I finished the book finally. And she was like, wait, what? But you were just like a third of the way through when I saw you 2 days ago. I was like, I know. Pick up the book, give it a read if you're into historical fiction and if you can stomach something with a little slavery, a little heartbreak, but also some love. Just give it a chance. So what am I going to be reading next? Next up, we have Medusa. So I used to be really into mythology. Like as a youngster, I was watching Xena, I was watching Hercules. That was my favorite genre to read. We focused on it in high school for a whole year. I could read that stuff all day. This book is apparently, first of all, it's by Ayanna Gray. It is a novel that pretty much talks about Medusa, sort of her, what do you call it? Her villain origin story, how she became evil in a sense. Randomly found out about this one because something, was it Amazon maybe again, suggested it to me and I was like, let me check it out. So this is what it says. Medi has spent her whole life as a footnote in someone else's story. Out of place next to her beautiful immortal sisters and her parents, both gods, albeit minor ones, she dreams of leaving her family's island for a life of adventure. So when she catches the eye of the goddess Athena, who invites her to train as an esteemed priestess in her temple, Medi leaps at the chance to see the world beyond her home. In the colorful market streets of Athens and the clandestine chambers of the temple, Medi flourishes in her role as Athena's favorite, getting her first taste of purpose and power. But when she's noticed by another Olympian, Poseidon, the course of Medi's promising future is suddenly and irrevocably altered. When her locks are transformed into snakes as punishment for a crime she did not commit, Medusa must embrace a new identity, not as a victim, but as a vigilante, and with it, the chance to write her own story as a mortal, martyr, and myth. Exploding with rage, heartbreak, and love, I, Medusa, portrays a young woman caught in the cross currents between her heart's deepest desires and the cruel, careless games the Olympian gods play. So yeah, her locks were turned to snakes and she became the Medusa that we know. I haven't started it yet, but this is what's coming up next. And one thing I will say about this book that I was like, oh yes, let me get this. Now, I don't have eye problems, but I do have some glasses. I have a prescription that I should wear when I'm on the computer most of the time, and I should wear while I'm reading. I do sometimes, but it's in large print, y'all. It is in large print. It's a New York Times bestseller in large print for those of y'all with a little visual challenge. So I'm excited to start this one. I plan to start it this weekend, maybe tonight, because I don't have plans. It's Friday night. I don't really have anywhere to be, but we'll see. Now, the read after that, or I may bounce between the two, we'll see, is a book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini, I believe is how you say that. So this is the book. She's a thick one. She thick, okay? How many pages is this book? It's about 430 pages. Well, it's more than 430 pages. She thick, that's all I know. So this book is apparently one of those classic books that a lot of people read if they are into psychology, the art of persuasion, that sort of thing. I'm very much into those things. Not to use them for evil, of course, but just to know and what to look out for. There was a point in my life where I thought I was going to be one of those people who kind of was tasked with figuring people out. I don't know. It was like, back then I was watching Criminal Minds. And then when you go down the rabbit hole of videos like on YouTube and stuff that are on this subject matter, you watch a lot of, not murder mystery, but videos that talk about why people do the things they do. You'll find things like this interesting because being a human is such an interesting experience. All of our experiences are completely different. We can all be influenced by something, someone, and make decisions based on that. I was influenced to buy half these books. Someone said, hey, this book was a good read. You'll like it if XYZ. And then I went and bought the book. That's what influence is. It doesn't have to be evil. It doesn't have to be negative. We're all influenced into a ton of things, okay? Now, what I will say is you will see an older version of this book, and then you will see the new and expanded version of this book. I got the new and expanded because why not? It's updated with something. You'll learn the universal principles of influence, which feature new research and practices so that you can become an even more skilled persuader. And just as important, you'll learn how to protect yourself against unethical attempts at influencing you. That's the important part to me. You may think you know these principles, but if you do not understand their intricacies, you may be ceding their power to someone else. So the principles of persuasion include reciprocation, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, scarcity, unity. So unity is the newest principle, apparently. Now, I 100% love that type of thing. I do also work in HR, which I find books on this topic to be very useful for that reason. In the past, when my positions did involve a lot of peopling versus compliance that I do now, understanding how to talk to people, how to influence their behaviors, their decisions, their outcomes is what will make your career wildly successful, dealing with leadership, not coercing them to do what you want, but being able to massage their thought process to guide you in the direction that you want. I think information like this is useful in dating. It's useful if you're in sales, and it's useful just everyday life. The power of influence will make you powerful. That's just it. All right, so that's what I've read, and that's what I plan to read next. So of course, now I want to know, what have you all read recently that you recommend? Any genre? I think the only genre I'm not into is like sci-fi type things. That's just not for me. That kind of stuff pretty much used to creep me out and still does. So what have you read? What are you looking to read? Do you have any questions about any of these books? Just let me know in the comments, and let's keep these brain folds active. Let's not end up with the smooth brains staring at our screens all day. And let's get this thing going. You know, we're active minds, active bodies, and we're just trying to be the best that we can be. All right? So let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.